Yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be taking one of my old remixes and I'm going to be showing you how to make your remixes sound way more professional. Alright, so here we have my project that I made. This is, I think, my first ever remix, actually. There's a lot of problems with it. There's a lot of ways that I would improve it now with the knowledge that I've gained. First things first, one of the most important things is organization. Here I have nothing organized, and I'm going to go through right now and I'm going to organize everything. Alright, so I got everything organized. It's really important to make sure that you organize your track before you start mixing, or especially if you have a track already that you're trying to fix. Organization is super important so that when you get to mixing, it's a lot easier to find sounds, make sure everything's in there. Just always make sure you're organizing your tracks. So I'll just play a little bit of the drop. So, while the drop is really, nice, I do enjoy the drop. It's a little weak sounding. It could sound more full. The chords are a little weak. So I'll show you how I make my chords. And already I'm hearing right off the bat that there's a pretty strong reverb on here. Take that off. And these aren't terrible chords. I can throw a multi-band compressor on here. Also, the thing with this track is I'm using an 808 instead of a bass, so I need to make sure that I make the chords strong enough that they sound full and good, but not so full that they overpower the bass. So it's a healthy balance. So I'm just gonna go through and take off all these so that I can just do it from scratch. I do want the OTT on there, so I'm gonna leave this. I'm gonna throw a camel crusher on here, saturation, and then I'm gonna EQ out the lows. If you EQ out the lows, it won't clash with the bass. So make sure when you're mixing your tracks, you're making room for other elements that you need to sound present, because it'll get muddy if they're overlapping. So it's sounding a little bit better, but it's still pretty weak. So now is an important step called layering, and it's as simple as make 2 layers of the same sound. Simple as that. Alright, so now I have my own sound design super saws that I've made in the past, and I'll just throw one of these on here. Yeah, that's better. Okay, and then throw this in the thing here. Move this over to make sure I stay organized. And then here I'm just gonna add a lot of the same stuff that I added before. So this is kind of like, for me, this is how I make my super saws. I'm still learning as well, but yeah, I do a lot of camel crusher for distortion, compression, OTT, and saturation to make it sound full. Okay, so now we can hear them together, and you'll see what I mean about layering. Okay, actually, I don't like the sound here. I'm gonna change it to the other one. And always make sure when you're adjusting stuff to listen in the context of the drop, because if you're just listening to it by itself, it might sound perfect by itself, but you don't know in the context of the drop, so. Also keep in mind that these aren't adjusted to the, one of them isn't adjusted to the LFO rate right now, so it's not gonna match up with that. Okay, I'm gonna keep working on these saws, and I'll be back when I get them sounding how I want them to. Alright, so I got the saws sounding how I think I like them for now. I might adjust them later, but for now this is what they sound like. I think I might go more in depth on super saws in another video, just because it took me a long time to figure out how to make good sounding ones. So for another video, I'll say that for another video, but I'll go more in depth on how to make nice sounding super saws. So we got the super saws down. I already have an LFO on one of these saws. Basically all you need to do is go here to pitch, and instead of saying create an automation clip, you can link to it, and you can link the pitch to right here. Let me find it right here. That's not what it is. So I got it linked to the channel pitch, and now I just will link this LFO right here. You can go up to here, say browse parameters, and you just click on here to find it really quick. Then you can do the same thing. You can link it to a controller. Boom, boom, there. And now both of my saws should be linked here. All right. Now I'm gonna move on to the percussion. So I got my saws here. Okay, so I'm going to mess with these I really do not like this kick. I think I like this one better. And then one way you can make your kick sound really good is if you go into the mixer channel and you go to soft clipper, and I just crank this all the way up, and it makes your drums really knock. And now the snare is very, I don't know, I don't like the snare either. I'm gonna try to keep it similar though. Maybe I'll just layer it. This one we can try. Okay, this needs to have soft clipper on here as well. So now I want to make sure that I'm side chaining, and I side chain using the Fruity Limiter. There's a lot of things that can go wrong with that, and I know I probably shouldn't be using Fruity Limiter, but I do indeed use Fruity Limiter. Alright, and then also I want to make sure that I'm side chaining this vocal as well. Now I'm just going to take off these EQs. Alright, and then let me just make sure I fix the EQ that I broke. Alright, so I think I'm liking the drop so far, and I think I want to just start mixing it, and then I'll see more problems as I start mixing. So, alright, so I'm just gonna start mixing the drop now, and I'll, as I'm mixing it, any more problems that I see, I'll fix those, add stuff. But yeah, I'll just take you through my mixing process now. So basically, I'm gonna put this on repeat here. So don't just low pass everything, because a lot of people will be like, a lot of people will tell you, you need to make space for the bass, which is true, but you can't just, without listening, just cut everything, because sometimes you can cut frequencies on a sound and it'll ruin the sound without you realizing. So you have to be aware of that. So it's important to watch. This is the kick, and I usually don't touch the kick much. I'll take a little bit of high off and maybe a tiny bit of low off. So you just want to make sure, like, see, you go too high, it's a different sound. You want to make, you're not cutting out too much important information. Like right here is good for this. Okay, and basically it's the same principle throughout. So I'm gonna do that. Alright guys, so I'm back. I did something really stupid. So basically I didn't realize that I had put Maximus on the master, and everything, like I was adjusting and nothing was sounding right. It wasn't working the way it normally does, and I was like, what is happening? Yeah, basically I had something on the master, so always check for that. I've been working on the basses, trying to get them to sound right. They're close, they're getting close. So yeah, I'm gonna get back to this. I'm gonna make sure I EQ everything still. I'm gonna do the intro and the outro as well, and the bridge. And then I'll get back to you in a second once I've done all that with some more important mixing information. Alright, so I'm wearing a different shirt. Yes, it's the next day. It took me a while to do all that, but I got all the mixing done, all the EQing and stuff, and so that's what this sounds like. And then I went through and I added new percussion stuff. So I added these, and I added a different hi-hat loop. And I added just a couple more elements as well. I added these, and I added this cool little. So yeah, and then all that together sounds like this. So yeah, now I would say is one of the most important things while mixing. And basically this is how you make sure that your track sounds loud when it's on like Spotify, and just in general how to make it sound loud and good at the same time. So this actually is a little, like, you'll be like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Basically, you have to go through here, come here, and you need to turn all your stuff all the way down. Just not all the way down, but pretty low. Okay, so then once you have that, it's important to start making sure you can turn up your volume, and then just make sure that you're like everything is at a good level. I'm just gonna pretend like I did that. I'm gonna go back and do that after. But basically then what you want to do is you want to add in a limiter, and I like to use this setting. It doesn't really matter. The setting, I mean, it's important, but it's not as well. Just experiment, find what sounds good, and then just boost up the gain. But yeah, that's one of the most important things to do. And then other than that, just make sure that you're adding, especially for a track like this, in future bass, you want to make sure that you're switching it up, otherwise it can get repetitive. So like for the second drop, just make sure you're making it different. And yeah, I hope you guys learned something from this video. I'm going to go through, I'm going to use those same techniques, EQing, using the levels, and I'm going to adjust all that on the song. And then I'm going to make a second drop, and all that is going to play after this. Peace out.
Right on the table for all my flaws. Be forever grateful. Every single road that you're gonna cross, I'm telling you to hold on to what you got. Embrace the wind, and you'll sail. If I could keep you safe.